Hello, hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the Sideline Speaks with myself, Brittany Jones, alongside Jason Collins and Kevin Walker. What's going on, K Walker and Jay?
All is well, all is well. Looking forward to a great one. I think we're going to have a really great one tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Got a special guest joining us in a little while, so it's going to be a great show.
Absolutely, absolutely. We always got to start with Sandra T. What's going on, Sandra T?
What's
Always
up,
here
Sandy?
in the present,
Sandy, we
supporting.
appreciate you checking in with us every week for
Always.
sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's get started, guys. Before we get started, for those who are watching us, first and foremost, we greatly appreciate it. Please subscribe, like, and share our YouTube channel at The Sideline Speaks. We would greatly appreciate it. We're slowly but surely growing. So any support we would love, we would greatly appreciate. Also, you can follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter. Had that down last week, messed me up this week. Um, at Sideline Speaks, and also anywhere you get your podcast. If you send us a comment, if you ask us a question, we will do our best to answer your question or respond to your comment while we are live on the air. You guys ready to talk some sports?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right, I didn't know which way to start, which topic to start first, but I'll do the most recent first, and then we'll get to the other ones. And that is what's going on in the NFL. As you guys know, today was cut down day. You had to get your rosters down to 53 by 4 p.m. today. So most rosters in the time being are set, but could still change within the next couple weeks prior to the start of the season, which is in 2 weeks from 2 days from now, 2 weeks from
Mm-hmm.
Thursday, which is
Yeah.
exciting. Um, but there were two transactions more in the NFC East because, yes, I'm an Eagles fan. Jay states he represents the Cowboys as of right now, but that could absolutely change. We don't know yet. Or maybe what recently happened, he decided to stick to it. But we're going to start with the Eagles, of course. So, as we know, this actually occurred last week, but we're not here till Tuesday. But I want to talk about it with you guys. The Commanders traded wide receiver Jahan Dotson in a fifth round, 2025 fifth round pick to the Philadelphia Eagles for a 2025 third round pick and two seventh round picks. Your thoughts on the former first round pick out of Penn State? Jay, I'm gonna start with you first.
Look, you mentioned it, Britt. He's a Penn State guy, so I've watched this guy a ton. I'm really high on Jahan Dotson. I think he's a fantastic player. I don't know if he was a great fit in Washington. You know, he got banged up a little bit, missed some time. But in Philly, where he obviously doesn't have to be the lead dog, he's got two really good receivers there on the roster already. But as a third receiver, I mean, this is an absolute steal for the Philadelphia Eagles because Jahan Dotson is really good. He's got great hands, catches everything. If they can keep him healthy on an offense where everyone's not going to be focusing on him because there's just so many
Mhm.
weapons, I think he has an opportunity to be sneaky good for the Eagles this year. So I think it's an outstanding pickup by Philly.
Yeah, I knew we needed I agree with you, Jay. I knew we needed a third receiver. Wasn't sure. I know we had John Ross come in, Paris Campbell came in, a few young guys came in. But they were cut today, unfortunately, and I think it was because of the Jahan Dotson trade.
Yeah.
I was kind of shocked he was available. I'm gonna be honest with you. I do feel like he maybe have been given up on a little too soon. Last year, I felt like with the Commanders was one of those wacky years, similar to the Eagles situation, where maybe the coaching staff just wasn't there. I know a lot of players had issues with Eric Bieniemy and a lot of other things was going on as well. So, but I'm with you, Jay. I went back and watched some of his college highlights and even from his rookie year. He catches
He can
almost
play.
everything. Like his hands are very really strong.
Yep.
And I love the fact that he'll go up and get the football. And I know some people didn't like the trade for the Eagles, which I don't quite understand because if you think about it from the standpoint that you put it, Jay, you basically took my thoughts right out my head. um, he's going up against your slot corner or your safety because he's going
Right.
to line up in that slot. So you don't have to go up against the number one corner or even number two corner. And I think he has talent to beat the safety or that slot corner. He has enough wiggle, I guess you could say, and he has great, he's great at the route tree. Um, or I'm sorry, running routes. So I love the trade, but also what I like as well is that you have three guys that are interchangeable along the line now. You could put AJ in the slot, to run his slant routes or whatever he likes to do. And now you're sitting here like, okay, does my number one corner now move to the slot or does he stay outside to Jahan Dotson? Because if he stays outside to Jahan Dotson or Devontae Smith, you want to put a slot corner or a safety up against AJ Brown? Good luck with that. That might be a little tough. So I really did like this pickup, but we'll see what happens. I think again it comes down to the coaching because that was the biggest issue last year, and I do think that Kellen Moore is a major upgrade for whatever happened last year. Don't really care, don't know what happened, but I do think it is a major upgrade, and I do like the pickup, and I'm glad that we got our third round, or I'm sorry, our third receiver for the next at least couple years because I think
Yeah.
this is his third year and he's a first rounder, so he gets at least 2 more years. But K Walker, what are your thoughts on this trade?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's good for the Eagles. I don't understand the move by the Commanders, but when you look at it from the Commander standpoint, I get it because they're not built to win right now, so they want to accumulate as many draft picks, quality draft picks that they can possibly get at this time. Now, what got me is just the interdivision trade there are
Mhm.
are they ready to they're not ready to win, but you always want to put yourself in a position to win. But when you look at Adam Peters, who's the new GM for the Commanders, he's taken a page out of his protege's book, and that's and that's John Lynch, who came from the 49ers. So I understand the move. When you look at it that
Mhm.
way, you get a quality third round pick for that guy because you guys mentioned, as far as the injury thing goes, if he can stay healthy, I know he had, he was a little bit injury plagued, but I don't think it's going to be a major concern because he's not going to be used the same way in Philly that he was used in Washington. So that's a plus right there, right then and there.
Right.
But as far as being that third guy, I think he's a quality third receiver. He could have gone anywhere else and been like not a wide receiver one, but maybe a wide receiver two, like he was in Washington. But wide receiver three, perfect complementary to AJ Brown and to Smith,
Devontae Smith. I
Devontae
got you.
Smith. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I think it's a perfect compliment. Like as far as where they line up, I don't think you want to chase these guys. Britt, I know you mentioned you take your starting corner and move them over and slide if that's what AJ Brown. I didn't think you just played them straight up, not man,
Right.
but play them. You just scheme them up. Scheme some type of zone coverage up on in regards to that. Jay probably can speak more to it on that. He's more of a defensive guy. But if I was a defensive guy, I would never try to go man against these guys, to be perfectly honest with you. And then you mentioned it too, Britt. They got Kellen Moore as well. What's he going to be? He's going to be an upgrade from what they had last season. But what the common denominator is from last season is you still have Sirianni and you still have Jalen Hurts, that combination there. And a lot of people are saying that, and I think Jalen Hurts as well kind of mentioned it, that their relationship, well, kind of was severed, if you will. And a lot of people are wondering, can that be,
Mhm.
can that be resurrected? Can they get back to what they want to do, because this is their third offensive coordinator in 3 years, and that says something about. Does it say something about Jalen Hurts? Does it say something about Sirianni? Is Sirianni on the hot seat right now? You got to ask yourself that question as well. If this doesn't work out, and if because with the addition of Saquon Barkley as well. So there's a lot of pressure on Jalen Hurts. No excuse about not having weapons. The question is right now is do the Eagles have the best weapons in all of football right now, and that's including the Chiefs. That's including my San Francisco 49ers as well. That's an argument to be had there. But yeah, overall, great pickup, great addition to that, and we're going to see how they're able to use, how Kellen Moore is going to be able to use these guys, going without going into things, and to see how creative he's going to be.
Right.
I just don't want to see a vanilla offer just straight up and down the field. I want to see some innovative type stuff from Kellen Moore.
Yeah, I think that you spoke volumes there when you said vanilla offense.
Yeah.
And being that I'm telling you this right now, Nick Sirianni has no control over this offensive playbook anymore. Now he may work a little bit with Kellen Moore, but it's been said and has been reported already that this is Kellen Moore's full control of the offense, and he has entrusted Jalen Hurts to have to take full control as well of his offense. Which, as a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles, thank goodness. Because as we see from Nick Sirianni, I don't know if it's his ego or maybe it's just lack of knowledge, and he's a young head coach in the game. Um, it's like you don't know to make adjustments from the previous year to this year, understanding that teams are going to be gunning for you, teams are going to be studying everything that you did, but you tried to throw the same exact thing out. I never played football. I never coached football, but I sat in my living room watching the game saying, this is what they're going to do next. So if I can do that, you know for sure, and I don't want to curse on the show, but you know for sure the opposing defensive team coordinators and coaches and players understood what you were doing. So to me, that made no sense. And there was also reports that part of the issue, Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni's personal relationship is fine. The issue was football, right? And it was reported that Nick Sirianni didn't want to change anything from the Super Bowl year. You know, he said, why fix it if it's not broken? Well, clearly, this is why you have to make adjustments and change it. Um, Jalen Hurts wanted more control of the offense. Nick Sirianni didn't feel it needed to go in that direction. And then you see what happened last year. This is a different year. I think Jalen Hurts will come prepared, will come better, and we got Kellen Moore now. So I'm personally happy about it, but hopefully it transfers onto the field. Any final thoughts, Jay K Walk?
No, I think
Wow,
we're good.
nah. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the other team. That other team down south, down there. No, I'm just kidding. The Dallas Cowboys. As we know, the Dallas Cowboys and a wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb, this was reported yesterday, agreed to a contract. The contract is a 4-year, $136 million contract with $100 million guaranteed. And CeeDee Lamb will also get a $38 million signing bonus. Can you say cha-ching? My goodness. Which is the highest in the history of the NFL for the wide receiver position. Just give me your overall thoughts on this finally done deal. K-Walk, I'm going to come to you first.
Yeah, CD, cash dollars, man. That money, that man got paid, man, and I think it's deservingly so, without question. Man, we hear Jerry Jones talking in the last couple of weeks about we miss somebody, he's not important, whatever else he was saying. But we all knew that Jerry was going to pay this guy because he had to pay him. I mean, what else were you going to do? You're not going to pay Dak, and you're not going to pay CD. You got to pay. You got to pay one of them. I personally thought he would go with Dak first. But once CD went out and he understood that Dak has no one to throw to, Dak is going to be on this team this year, without question. Now you got to go with that guy. That guy's a top 5 receiver, arguably top 3 receiver. Depending on who you talk to. So very valuable to the Cowboys. I think he may be the most valuable receiver to a quarterback in the league. That's an argument that legitimately can be made, without question. So to give him what he gave him, is not surprising to me. I think it's well deserved. You got guys out there like my man Brandon Yuka sitting back and looking at it like, what we looking at now? But yeah, so we already know the market was up there with Justin Jefferson did, and getting his deal, and Jalen Waddle and all those guys getting their deals. So see, it was just a matter of time for CeeDee Lamb. It wasn't if, it was just a matter of when and how much. And I think it's perfectly matched. I think what he got was well deserved, and I would, if someone said he got a little underpaid, I wouldn't argue with that either. But yeah, CeeDee Lamb is that. In my opinion, CeeDee Lamb is that guy.
Yeah, I think my only question was what took so long outside of Eagles. To me, that's the biggest question. To me, that's the ego on the side of the Cowboys front office and ownership, because he is the front office at the same time. But again, well deserved. This couldn't go on into the first week. If that happened, then the Cowboys would have been in very much deep trouble, because they have, who else do they have on the offense? Ezekiel Elliott. I know they're looking at Dalvin Cook. Hmm. Who's your number two receiver? Oh, Brandon Cooks. Okay, he has to stay healthy though. Um, who's your tight end? I don't even have a clue because what's name left. Um, so I like what they did on the offensive line. What they got Cooper BB and a couple other guys. Um, but you needed CD Lamb back. Like there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And finally, uh I guess Jerry Jones finally came to his senses and said, "Okay, let's get this done." But the good thing is CD is happy, and I still hope they lose, of course. But I'm glad he got his back. But Jay, I'm gonna come to you last on this because you apparently support him for now.
Yeah,
What are your
Britt.
thoughts?
Look, you took the you said what took so long, and that's where I was going. Like K Walk said, it was only a matter of time, and I'm like, oh, well, why would it take so long? And that's what I talked about last week when we talked about this. You're going to do the deal. Like it's
Mhm.
going to get done. Why keep delaying this thing? And not that CD is a guy that necessarily has to be at OTAs and has to be at
Right.
camp and all that stuff. He's a veteran player. I'm sure he's going to be fine from an offensive standpoint and in terms of rhythm with Dak and all that kind of stuff. My only concern is like when you're not actually there doing football type stuff, like you
Mhm.
can be in shape, you can run and you can run routes and you can do all that stuff, but it's really not the same. Like nothing can really get you ready than actually being there. And I know he's got 2 weeks before they're going to kick this thing off, but it just always concerns me when guys come in late. Do they risk some type of soft tissue injury, or maybe their body's just not quite ready when it's time for the games to kick off? So that's why I'm saying what took so long. If you were going to pay the guy $100 million guaranteed, you could have did this a month ago. You could have
Right.
did this 2 months ago. So to your point, Britt, a lot of ego involved in that Cowboys front office, and I'm hoping this thing doesn't come back to bite them. But I'm glad it's done. I'm happy CD got his money.
Mhm.
Definitely deserves it, and hopefully he can get out there and play great for the Cowboys this year.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, Jay. You made a valid point about the soft tissue injury. You could tackle a little bit at a certain point in practice to try to get the players somewhat used to tackling. I mean, teammates try not to go too hard, but at the same time, it's a competitive training camp. So they're going to, but you at least get that feel for it. His first time getting tackled might be in week one. So it's going to be interesting how that works, but I hope he does stay healthy. But going back to the contract, what took so long, the thing is, you might not have to pay $100 million guaranteed if you would have did this a few months ago. If he would have got tried to get ahead of it. We got to pay him. He wants his money.
Yeah,
He might not want it $136 million and then, but all the deals that have happened since then, of course, a player's going to be like, well, that was yesterday's price. This is today's price. Is that what
yeah,
Fat Joe always says?
yeah,
Yesterday's price is not today's price. So because you took so long, that's what kept increasing it. As these players are like, I can't think of some of the players who just got paid, but as Amase Brown and a few other players in between there started to get their contract. Now his agent is going to be like, well, wait a minute. My guy's numbers are this. They're better than his. They have this player and this player on this team. CD is the only guy, offensive talent on his team. So you need to increase this price. So this is completely and utterly on the fault of the Dallas Cowboys, on why it took so long. And now you got to figure out, you don't have a whole lot of money. So now you got to figure out how to pay Dak, and Michael Parsons is also coming up very soon as well. So it's going to be interesting how this plays out, how this contract is then going to impact the overall cap space for the next couple years when it comes to Dak and Michael Parsons. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, you know what, Britt? It's funny you mentioned that. When you go to the bargaining table, the negotiation table, that you use that that term that you use or use is saying that well, his numbers are my numbers are better than his numbers. Meaning, when you compare other
Hmm.
receivers to other receivers, yeah, you can make that argument if the league was paying you. But you can't make that argument if the team is paying you, because that team is using that receiver a totally different way. So their value, your value to us is a lot different than the value his value is to his respective team. So I don't like that term. Like, I don't like when they go in there and say, well, my numbers are here. Okay, well, we don't run that offense. We don't need to throw you the ball that much. We don't need to. We don't need to throw you the ball 100 times a game. I mean, 100 times a season. We don't need that. Our offense doesn't work that way. We got other guys that are just as valuable as you are. And I'm not saying, well, CeeDee Lamb is.
I was going to say
that. CeeDee Lamb can say that.
I was going to say that might work. That I was going to say that might work for Jahan Dotson, but that's not going to work for CeeDee Lamb.
No, I'm saying, but I'm more so talking about Brandon Ayuk right now. That's what I'm talking about right now. I'm kind of
right,
because of the fact of the matter. Yeah, he is a good receiver, but at the same time, I'm talking about Brandon Ayuk right now. Is that with CeeDee Lamb doesn't have a quality wide receiver. The Cowboys don't have a quality wide receiver too. Mm-hmm. The 49ers do, and then their offense, allows other players to be just as valuable as Brandon Ayuk. So when you said that just made me immediately think of Brandon Ayuk's situation, and he wants to be paid with the high tier wide receivers. It doesn't work that way in this situation, in my opinion. But if you're talking to the league and you're negotiating with the league, and the league is paying each and every player, then yeah, you can use that argument, but you can't use that argument with the 49ers.
Yeah, and Walk, I totally get what you're saying, and I see exactly where you're coming from. But guys do this all the time.
I don't know. I know. That's
like,
right.
The best offensive lineman in the league sees so and so get paid, and he's like, "Well, I'm better than him.
No, I agree.
I need more money than him." So I get where you're coming from. Like from a team standpoint, they might say, "Well, you might be better than him, but on our team, we don't use you that way, so your value is a little bit different." But at the same time, guys have been playing that card forever.
I know, Jay. I know. Yeah. That's why I wanted to come in and step in and try to see something a little about that. We can back that just a little bit.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Speaking of that, this was not part of the topic list, but we got hopefully, a few minutes or so here. K-Walk, I'm gonna come to you because we did speak about our teams. Let's talk about yours because it was announced.
I don't want to talk about this guy. Not anymore. I was just throwing my last shot in there.
You're gonna be fine. I don't want to hear about but as we know, Brandon Ayuk did make the 53-man roster, which makes sense. But as of right now, and things are absolutely going to change. Trent Williams was placed on. I forgot what the list was. He's not on the
report.
Did not report list. Correct. Mm-hmm. So he's not on the official 53-man roster, but that will change as soon as he signs the contract. What are your thoughts on both of these situations? Because I know one may have more impact. I know a lot of fans are more worried about the Trent Williams situation than they are the Brandon Ayuk situation. Yeah. You being a 49ers fan, what are your thoughts on both players' situation?
Well, first and foremost, Brandon Ayuk, we want you. Mm-hmm. Trent Williams, we need you. So there's the difference. between want and need.
Yeah.
So and Trent Williams, I don't understand where this came from. He just did his deal a couple of years ago, and he still has 3 years left on his deal. He's getting paid $20 million a year as well. He's 36, going to be 37 years old during the season. So I don't understand where this is coming from. Why all of a sudden, he wants to be, I don't know what he's asking for. No one knows what he's asking for, how much he's looking for, if he's looking for guaranteed money. If he's looking for years, we don't know. Because it's shocking to us. It's a surprise. So that's why I'm not too concerned about Trent Williams right now, because of the fact of the matter is there's no word out there saying Brandon Ayuk. We know what he wants. He's asking for. He wants to be paid, X amount of dollars. He wants to be paid in the top tier receivers. We know where he's coming from. But Trent is just like, where is this coming from? You're getting $20 million a year. You're 36 years old, 37 years old. You get paid $20 million a year. What's up with this? First, I just go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think I did see a report. It came out today, actually, not that long ago. Saying that they said he wants to get, I guess, paid like one of the top left tackles in the game because he is, let's be for real, he's probably number one on the daggone list.
He is, absolutely.
And then his last 3 years aren't not guaranteed money. So that might be part of the issue.
Well, guarantee it all. Just guarantee it all. Just guarantee it all. And then let's go and let's get ready. Let's guarantee it all. I mean, if it's $60 million, I have no, well, it's not my money. So that's why I don't have a lot of money. But
how old is he, K-Walk? He's
He's 36.
36.
He's
37, 36,
36 going to be
36.
37, but before when it's throughout the season, if it hasn't already turned 37, but he'll be 37, before the
Mm-hmm.
season ends.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
Nonetheless, I think linemen are different. Linemen can play a little longer than some of
Right.
these other guys. Maybe not Trent the way the level that he plays, but nonetheless, I say give him what he's asking for.
Yeah.
He's again, like I mentioned earlier, we need that guy. We absolutely need that guy, and to have the best left tackle, which is the most important or one of the most important positions in all of football. To have him on your team, you got to give him whatever he needs in order to keep him happy, in order to keep him protecting what you're ultimately going to give,
Mm-hmm.
your franchise quarterback, as far as 500 million, whatever the number is going to be for Brock Purdy. But yeah, absolutely, that's my thoughts on that. Give Trent whatever he's asking for, get him back in the building so he can get ready to roll. I don't know where they're at right now. I keep hearing
Right.
Brandon Ayuk and the 49ers are, there's some ironing out to do. I don't know how wrinkled this situation is because they've been ironing it out for I don't know how long, too long in my opinion. 49er fans, including myself, are just tired of hearing about it. So we either do one or two things, before the end of the week, we either trade them or sign them, please. I'm
Okay,
tired of
well,
hearing
you
about it.
think these guys will be there in uniform playing week one? If
I
they
think,
just
yeah,
gut
absolutely.
feeling, gut
Yeah,
feeling.
absolutely, man. I just don't see Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch allowing these
Mm-hmm.
guys to not be on the roster if they know what
Okay.
they have to do to get these guys back on the field, and get them on the field and get them ready for week one. I just don't see them not doing that. They know what they have to do. So we may not know, but they know what it takes, and I think they'll ultimately get it done.
Gotcha.
Jay, before I get to your thoughts on this, K Walk, do you think the 49ers front office are being a little bit um I don't want to say a little bit like hard as far as negotiation and not necessarily be willing to give too much to a player? Do you think there's some sort of like concern, like we don't want to get stuck in a like a rock and a hard place, especially knowing that we got Brock Purdy, we gotta pay later on, and maybe a couple other players maybe coming up soon.
Yeah, Brett, you got to look around their team. You look at all these quality players that they have.
Hmm.
The McCaffreys, the Debos, the Trent Williams, the Fred Warners. I mean, you look around the league, you look around that team, and you look at that payroll, and you see what these guys are getting paid. They can only pay so much, so many of these guys what they're asking for. I mean, granted, they're all worth what they're asking for, but
Right.
unfortunately, they're all on the same team, and unfortunately, you got to deal with a salary cap. I mean, even though it did go up to salary cap, it's still hampering them right now, and they're gearing up for the Brock, the Brockbuster deal, if you will, as far as paying Purdy.
Right.
Yeah, they have to understand that. So now you got to ask yourself, you got to ask Trent Williams and Brandon Ayuk. We know they want to pay that, they want to feed their families. We get all of that. But listen, are you all in on winning the Super Bowl? Because, with this 49, with this presently constructed 49ers team, that Super Bowl window is slowly but surely closing.
Hmm.
So you got to ask yourself, you guys want to be a part of this, for the long haul for now, because we can't keep every one of you guys. We just can't now. So do you want to go some? Is it more about the money, or is it more about, because they're not getting? It's not like they're getting paid, you know, a rookie salary or whatever.
Right.
Guys, let me do this for me, and just take over. Wilbur's calling me right now. Let me get on the
Okay.
Okay.
phone with Wilbur.
Okay.
Let me get
All
on.
And
right.
to that point, Britt, I was gonna say, like, I think it's different, like when you have a football guy
Hmm.
in that GM spot. Like John Lynch is a great player. He's been around the game his whole life.
Right.
He comes from coaches in his family. Where some of these front offices have businessmen. I think John Lynch
Hmm.
is probably under the impression that, look, one guy, yes, we'd love to have him, but one guy isn't going to make or break our roster.
Right.
So I think, to your point, they might be playing a little bit of hardball, because as a
Hmm.
football guy, I don't think Lynch believes that their season is going to make or break hanging on the balance of whether Ayuk is on that roster or not.
Oh, so Jay, quick question, because and I heard somebody ask this question previously, and it was intriguing to me because this may be more geared towards a Brandon Ayuk versus a Trent Williams, because Brandon Ayuk is just getting through his rookie contract. He's still a young
Yeah.
player right now in his career. Should he worry more about the money right now versus the winning? because right, this might be his only opportunity to get all the money that he can get,
Yeah.
because you just don't know what can happen later down the line. Um, Trent, again, he's different, 36. He's kind of on the back in his career, and he's been paid. So,
Yeah.
what would you say to, like, if you were giving Brandon Ayuk advice, would you say go get your money, young man, or would you say this is the team for you, even if you have to sacrifice some money?
Yeah, it's a great question, Britt. But one of the things that all NFL guys will tell you is like the minute they got to the NFL, they realized it was a business. Like, this is my job. This is
Mm-hmm.
a business.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird because there is a certain team aspect to it and there is a certain winning aspect to it. But at the end of the day, like when they feel like you don't bring value anymore, they're going to cut you. They're not going to say, "Oh
Right.
well, we're a big happy team. Let's keep him around." So I think for me, because of the nature of the sport and how brutal it can be, and everybody is just one play away. I think if you have an opportunity to get your money, you gotta get your money,
Right.
especially as a young player who really hasn't cashed in yet. You got to
Mm-hmm.
go get your money because you just never know. So I think you have to keep that framework. It's a business. This is my job. I need to be paid. And then the winning and all that,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's part of it once my name is signed on the dotted line.
Makes sense. Makes sense. K Walk, you good?
Okay, yeah, we should be good. He should be popping in any second. He was just having trouble just signing in,
Okay.
so his cam. I believe he said he was at the part where it was check his camera, so he should be popping on any
All right,
moment.
cool.
Uh,
Cool.
Yeah, what I asked Jay was, Brandon Ayuk is a young player,
mhm.
and if you were advising him, because Jay was stating, he's a young man, you realize it's a business, go get your money, young man. But if
Yeah.
you were advising him, would you say go get your money, young man, or cut back a little bit so you can win this Super Bowl?
Well,
Being
there's
that
a lot
he's
of
still young,
yeah.
and
If I was, I'm biased here, so I'm saying to cut. Give us a hometown discount. That's what I'm asking for right
hey,
now.
hey, well, wait a minute, all
But
right, K
no,
Walk.
no. But I'm gonna take that out of. I'm gonna take that out
I
of.
was gonna say, then
So
let's do AJ Brown with the Eagles.
I was gonna
Then
say I was gonna do another like I was like CD Lamb, like we mentioned
right.
CD Lamb earlier. So no, I would definitely tell him to go get his money. I mean, because of the
Mm-hmm.
fact of the matter, he has a legitimate case that he is just as valuable to the 49ers as CD Lamb is to to the Cowboys. What
Right.
he did, not just catching the ball, but what he did as far as his downfield blocking and things of that nature, the intangibles. But a lot of people. I mean, Cal Shanahan preaches that. No block, no rock. So but he took that to heart, and he went down there and he did it, and he made a lot of big plays happen, a lot of crucial plays happen by his downfield
Mm-hmm.
blocking. So by all means, I mean, as a former wide receiver, man, I see you go get your money. I'm just talking as a fan and saying, give us a hometown discount.
Right.
But nonetheless, any player that I talk to and they're up for a contract extension, I always will tell them that to go get your money without question.
Whew, I guess good thing I didn't play football. I'm not a
Yeah,
coach or anything. Cause I'm like, come on, you still a millionaire, man.
yeah,
No, no, no. I understand. It does make sense because you are young. You don't know what can happen down the line. You want to get as much guaranteed money as you possibly can because you next year that might be it. Like you just don't know. Football is such a violent sport, and you come in. Yes, you want to win Super Bowls. That's probably your main goal. But like Jay alluded to, you realize how much this is a business. A team would get you up out of here like that,
Yep.
without any question. Just like, with everyday people, we say if you have PTO, if you have that time, utilize it. Because a job, if they fire you, they don't give you no notice. Like it is what it is. So utilize that time, utilize what you have already earned. And then when you're looking for a job, go get for what you deserve. Don't settle for anything less. And that's similar
absolutely,
to
absolutely.
that's the same thing with these guys. They don't need to settle for less, and they have families just as much as we do. So, all right, guys, I'm trying to stall just a little bit
Yeah,
longer.
he said he was good. We
No, no,
walked
that's
him
fine.
through it. So he said it was good. So.
What I'll do is because I had a couple topics. One was on MJ, one was on Deion, and I know we got to get to college football. So I was thinking we get to those three topics. Jay, I don't know if that's going to mess you up a little bit
You're good. You're good.
after Wilbert. But maybe we could get in a little bit of NBA one on one real quick. Past versus present. If he comes in, we could. That's fine.
Okay.
This was just the extra topic I threw in there. So this is NBA 1-on-1, past versus present. So it tells you right there in the name, past players versus present players. You tell me who you think will win in 1-on-1 and why. All right. So first one, let's see. I'm gonna go with the young guy, the young cat, the young cat. What am I? My 70s? Well, I was born in the 70s or something. I'm gonna go with Wemby. You know, they say he could be the next best thing ever. We're gonna go with Wemby versus a young, healthy Ralph Sampson. Two
Hmm.
players that are pretty similar.
Hmm.
Um, And Ralph Sampson's been called the alien before the alien. They call Wimby the alien, but he's the original alien. Let's see, Jay, I'm gonna come to you on this one. Who do you have winning the 1-on-1 battle?
I was not expecting you to say Ralph Sampson,
Ralph,
Britt.
yeah.
I was absolutely not. That made it very interesting because on one hand, I think Wimby. When I started thinking about just the versatility of his game, I
Mm-hmm,
think his game is way more versatile than Ralph Sampson's. Obviously, he can step out and shoot the three. I think he handles the ball better. Just all those kinds of things. But I do think Sampson might have the opportunity to maybe bully Wimby a little bit on the block. Not that Sampson was some big physical
Yeah.
imposing guy, but Wimby, as we know, is still quite light. So that could be interesting. But I got to go Wimby, Britt. I just think the skill
mm-hmm,
level, the shooting from the outside, the ball handling, the length to block shots, I think all
mm-hmm.
that might be too much for Ralph. I'm taking Wimby.
I'm a, I'm a, I'm gonna go with Ralph on this one. I'm gonna let Ralph have it on this one. I think he was underrated because I think we have to think about the times that he played where the 3-point line wasn't as popular, but he
Yeah.
could shoot it out there if he just didn't do it as much. I was watching some of his highlights a few weeks ago or so, and I was like, this was a player back in the day.
Yeah.
He was kind of ahead of his time. The only issue was he injury prone. I think he had was a knee issue. And I think he was considered to be, I don't know if he was really 7'4". I know that's what he was listed as.
Yeah.
He looked long as heck though.
Right.
But he could play defense. He had some post moves, he could shoot a little bit, and I seen him dribble the ball a little bit. I just think it was a different time, and some of these players in a different era, they don't get as much respect. Like if he played in today's era, he would probably be shooting a lot more and probably be more in that perimeter. So I'm gonna give it to Ralph just to be a devil's advocate here a little bit. But K, what? Who you got?
Yeah, I was thinking that when you said Ralph Sampson, it threw me off too, Jay. And I'm thinking, like, what was Ralph's
Yeah.
go-to move? What was his signature move? What did he, what was his game like? And Britt, you mentioned it. He was a jump shooting, type center. Like, he didn't go down low. He didn't have a spin
Mm-mm.
move. He didn't have a fadeaway jump shot or anything like that. I mean, you talk about some of the more popular big men. You can talk
Mm-hmm.
about what they did. I don't remember Ralph Sampson
Me neither.
doing anything just to shooting the ball. And then, with that being said, I'm going to take Wemby. But I just think Wemby's
Mm-hmm.
a lot more athletic than Ralph Sampson was. I think Wemby can, he can, all three levels, right under the basket, mid range and the 3-pointer, as you mentioned, Britt. And his defense, and he's just as long, if not longer than Ralph. So I
Right.
think I have to take Wemby on this one, but nothing to take away from his days and fly slammer jammer, but hard to go against that. But yeah,
we
Wemby, I think
we
1-on-1
going
Wemby would get him.
we're gonna revisit this one. So after this, we're gonna
Yeah.
watch highlights of both. All of us, we're gonna watch highlights of both, and then we'll revisit this one, of course. Real quick before I get to the next one, Diggs BTW1. Hey, what's up? What's going on, Diggs
What's
BTW1?
going
Is
on,
that
Dig?
is that a Cowboys?
Appreciate you.
That's a Cowboys thing, right? There we go. We got one.
Mhm.
What's up, Diggs?
Oh, we
How
need to
about them
get
Cowboys?
we got to get rid of him quick. No, I'm just playing. I'm just kidding. I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you. All right, next one. Let's see. We're gonna go. We're gonna go Giannis versus the big ticket Kevin Garnett, two power
Ooh.
forwards.
Who was right?
Uh K Walk, I'm gonna come to you first.
I already know where
Ooh,
K Walk going on this one.
yeah, I'm going. Yeah, I'm going one man, big ticket, man. Big tickets on my starting five of all time, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I said it. So yeah, I mean, but great comparison though, Britt.
Mhm.
I can't disagree with the comparison, and you really have to think about it. But I might be a little biased here because I love Big Ticket. Big Ticket plays, both ends of the court.
Mhm.
He has that soft jump shot, that little bit, not a baby hook, but a little jump hook there.
Yeah.
Great defense, great defensive player, outstanding rebounder. Um, I mean not Wimby. Giannis is just Giannis, when he gets that head of speed, that head of steam, man, he's hard to stop. But I think Big Ticket can get in his way, and then he's long enough, to sustain that, and he's long enough to hit to block those jump shots and make him work
Right.
down low. So the more and more I think about it, the more and more I'm loving my choice. So I'm going Big Ticket here. Big Ticket.
Yeah, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Look, I have a lot of respect for Giannis. I love him on the Bucks. But I got to go with big ticket. There's no me thinking about it. I don't really know what great skill set Giannis has. He's just a very aggressive down here hill player. He
Yeah.
plays very, very hard. He doesn't shoot the ball well. Big ticket could shoot a little bit. He wasn't shooting threes. He didn't need to. Um, Kevin Garnett had much better footwork in the post. Giannis' footwork is not that great. I give Giannis defensive abilities, but you're going up against Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett's not having it whatsoever. And Kevin Garnett is just as physical, if not more physical, than a Giannis would be. So I got to go with Kevin Garnett, big ticket all the way. That mentality is not going to allow him to lose in a one-on-one battle with Giannis. Jay,
Right.
what's
Yeah.
your
Exactly.
thoughts?
That's too.
Yeah, Britt, everything that you guys said, and the just not to repeat, the only thing I'll add is attitude. Like I think like KG would punk
Yeah.
Giannis, the toughness,
Mm-hmm.
the attitude, the
Mhm.
trash talk. I just don't think Giannis would stand a chance. So I think the big ticket wins this one pretty easily.
All right, next one, guys. Let's see. I got a few here. Hmm. We're gonna go with Luca. Nah, this might be too easy. I might have to skip that one. Um, we'll go. Yeah, whatever. Luca versus Penny. I had to find tall guards, and it was not too many back in the day. So, I'm gonna say Luca Doncic versus the one and only Penny Hardaway. Jay, I'm gonna come to you first.
I'm going Penny all day, all the way on this one. Penny's underrated. Like a lot of
Mhm.
times, I think when people start talking about great players, very rarely do you hear Penny Hardaway's name come up. Obviously, injuries cut his career short, but when healthy, he was an absolute problem. And
Yeah.
you always talk about it, Britt. The game is played on both ends of the floor.
Right.
Luca has no chance at guarding Penny Hardaway, so I got Penny in a landslide.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. Penny was just he was amazing as a playmaker, a scorer. He was quick as I don't know what. We seen Luca fall on skates against guys who's not nearly as fast as a Penny Hardaway. Can you imagine one on one with Penny? I could just see Luca crying to a pretend ref that's not there.
Mhm.
Um, why didn't you make that call? No,
Right.
no, no.
Mhm.
And then on the other side, I think Penny could D up Luca. He's like, I'm too physical for you. You're not going to try to slow slug me into these
Yeah.
steps that today's NBA players can't even handle. So I gotta go Penny. K Walk.
Yeah, I'm going with Anthony as
Mm,
well. Y'all went with Penny. I'm going with Anthony, man. I think I think when you look at this guy, he's long. What he was 6'7", man, and run that
mhm.
point the way he did. You guys mentioned his quickness. That's exactly what when I first heard his name. That's exactly what I thought of. How quick he was, and Jay, you mentioned it. How underrated he was as well. I think he was just plagued by those knee injuries once, when he was in Orlando. But his days at Memphis State and, his early days in Orlando, I thought he was excellent. Great, great
Mhm.
complimentary piece there and what they did and putting that team together as far as the Magic and, Anthony and Shaq and Nick Anderson and D Scott 3D and those guys there. I thought he was an excellent point guard there. Again, 6'7". And then he has a very good had a very good jump shot as well,
Right.
very pure jump shot, and I think he was again one of the most underrated facilitators of all time. So yeah, I'm definitely going with Anthony Eddie Hardaway.
All right, couple more. We have this one was a little tough. Because I couldn't figure out anybody to go with this guy, but I just said, whatever. So we got Magic Johnson versus KD. Um,
KD.
long. Yeah, I said the same
Yeah,
thing.
no,
I
that's
might,
good though. That's
I,
interesting.
yeah, I said the same thing. We'll see what happens. K Walk, go ahead,
Yeah.
make your decision right now for
I
this
don't
Yeah.
know.
one.
I'm going with Magic. I'm going with the Magic, man. Irvin
Oh,
Magic
really?
Johnson. I just think that. Yeah, I just think that because I just think on the offensive side of the ball, I think Magic can just take him down low. We all know how frail and fragile that
Hmm.
that KD can be, and I think that Magic can take him down low and beat him up with the sky hook. And if he's coming down the court and 1-on-1. I think he could just run right through him. I get it. KD's long and he has that pure jump shot, and Magic is not known for his defense. I think I just think that in a half court game, which we see more times than we see fast breaks, even in fast breaks, I'll give
Hmm.
it to Magic. But yeah, I'll give it to Magic. I think Magic will just overpower him because Magic is what 6'9". I know KD's depending on what day of the week it is and what the temperature is and things of that nature depending on what size he is, how tall he is,
Hmm.
but nonetheless if he's 7'1", if he's 6'11", still I'll give it to Magic. I'm going to take the brawn over over that frail body that he has, man.
Hmm.
I love Magic. I'm going with Magic over KD all day.
Yeah, this one was rough for me.
But I can see someone going with KD though. I can see it though.
I think I might have to play devil's advocate. I think I'm gonna go with KD on this one.
I ain't mad at you,
Um,
Brett.
and that's not hard because the first thing you think of is physicality. The first thing you think of, K Walk, you
Yeah.
mentioned it, putting KD in a post and just going at him. Um, but Magic wasn't always the best scorer at times neither. So I just think if you get a couple misses from him, and let's say you play and make it take it, how often is KD going to miss just from the outside? He is a pure bona fide scorer, and he is not easy to stop on that offensive side of the ball. And if it's true like what you just said, K Walk, Magic's defense was kind of suspect a little bit.
Yeah.
We're talking about Kevin Durant here on the offensive side of the ball. So I think both players have their deficiencies on the defensive side of the ball. So I'm gonna just go with although he's skinny and he is skinny, um, I'm gonna go with the stronger offensive player in 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 KD. Now again, this is 1-on-1. If it's 5-on-5, I might make a different decision.
Oh,
But
definitely.
Jay, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, Brett, I think what you said at the end is true. Like if it was 5-on-5, because I think Magic is like
Yeah.
a lot of what made Magic great wasn't just because he could score them. I mean, obviously he was a great leader, a great passer, just a floor general. But
Right.
in a game of one-on-one, like a lot of that doesn't really come into play. I agree with K Walk's point. Magic probably could back KD down and throw some hook shots over him and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think if they're playing to 11, whatever, like unless he's going to run off 11 straight, he's in trouble because I think when KD gets the ball, I'm just not sure Magic could guard him. I just don't know that Magic could guard him. So I'm taking KD. I love Magic, but in a game of one-on-one, I got to go KD.
All right. All right. So that's 2 against 1. No, I'm just playing. All right, and last one while we wait for K Walk to get back. I heard somebody put this a few weeks ago in the comment. I said we'll come to it, but I just haven't been able to get to this particular 1-on-1. And they said Patrick Ewing was better, way better than Joel Embiid. So that's gonna be my 1-on-1 here. I got Patrick Ewing versus a Joel Hans Embiid. Mind you, this is 1-on-1, not 5-on-5. Jay, who you got in this battle?
So to that person's point, I do think Patrick Ewing might be slightly underrated when we look
Hmm.
back through history. Obviously, he never won a championship. It was Jordan's reign, so no one did. And I think Patrick might be better than a lot of people view him as, but I
Mhm.
don't think he could beat Joel Embiid in a game of one-on-one. I just think Joel is too versatile. I think Joel can do
Mhm.
everything Patrick can do, plus step out and shoot the mid-range, plus step back and shoot the three. Plus, he's just a bigger body in general.
Right.
So I got to take Joel. I just think there's a difference in skill level between those two guys. So I'm going Joel all day on that one.
Yeah, look, I'm with you. I respect the person who said this, but you got to be out of your mind. If they are both healthy, right?
Yeah,
And we getting health out of the way. These are both healthy, completely in shape players. Joel just has too much creativity. He just has too much skill set, too much of a
yeah,
skill set for a Patrick Ewing. I love Patrick Ewing's physicality. I loved him as a player. Couldn't stand the Knicks, but I loved him as a player. But like you said, he just has too much on both sides of the ball. It's not
yeah,
just on one side, on both sides. Like you said, he could pull Patrick Ewing out to the perimeter and shoot a three, shoot a mid jumper. He can utilize that footwork that he learned from Hakeem Olajuwon, Michael Jordan, and Kobe Bryant. He's watched all three of these guys, and he has done exactly what they have done on the court. He's done in games at 7 foot 1, 2, however tall he is, on a good day, 280 pounds. Like, it's unheard of. Do we not see this man Euro step at full speed? Like, it's unheard
yeah,
of how athletic he is at his particular size. I know Patrick Ewing was very athletic as well. I don't know if he was capable of doing what Joel was able to do on the offensive side of the ball. Like, it is ridiculously crazy. And then he gives you some top tier defense because Patrick Ewing was a defender as well.
yeah,
So I have so much respect for Patrick Ewing, but I think Patrick Ewing know, like, you know what, this young man might be able to get me. He might not have that mentality, but somewhere deep down, something's telling him the truth. Let me go sit down somewhere because this ain't my fight today. This is not
yeah,
my fight today.
yeah.
All right. I think I'm assuming K Walk might be trying to talk to our guest to see. Hopefully, he's able to figure out his system to come on today. But I got one more for you,
Okay.
Jay, while we're waiting, and that's Hakeem Olajuwon. I guess I could have put Hakeem versus Joel, but I didn't. I want to switch things up.
Yeah,
Hakeem
that
Elijah, Hakeem Olajuwon versus Jokic. Who you got?
ooh. I don't want to take anything away from the Joker. He's been a great player the last several years. Does a lot. But again, almost a lot like Magic. I think a big part of the Joker's game is having four other guys around him, his ability
Right.
to pass the ball, how he sees the floor, just different things like that. It's hard for me to think that he's going to be able to deal with the Dream in a one-on-one matchup, just with all the footwork, the quickness, the skill. Like it's just be hard for me to believe that he could handle all that. And the Dream was a heck of a defensive player. A lot of people
Yeah.
that might not be the first thing they think about when you start talking about Hakeem, but he was a heck of a defensive player as well. So I just think all that would be too much for the Joker.
Yeah. I'm gonna just say I 100% agree. Look, Jokic, Jokic. He's a 5-on-5 guy. He's not a 1-on-1 type of player at all. He can shoot the ball from the outside. He can shoot it very well. Um, he can post you up. He has the strength to do it. But Hakeem was just on another level. I think
Yeah,
Hakeem was one of those players that was ahead of his time as well, as far as his size and his skill set. And then Jokic, he struggles a little bit on the defensive side of the ball. I think Jokic excels more when he has a quality number two and a Jamal Murray. If you take away that number two, and it's just a one-on-one type of situation, I think Jokic struggles a lot.
yeah.
And then a one-on-one Hakeem, I don't think there's you know, anything that he could do with Hakeem Olajuwon.
All right, guys. Sorry about that. I was trying to walk him through, and he's getting in. Hold on, I'll be right back, guys. I apologize.
No, you good. You good. You good. Jay, that was my last one. I'm trying not to
Okay.
get in any
Okay.
other topics prior to him coming on. You got anything you want to talk about maybe from yours? We just going, guys, bear with us here. We just going to go skip around today.
Yeah, guys, we're trying to get our guest on Wilbur Montgomery, the former Philadelphia Eagles running back. He's having some technical issues that K Walk is trying to get worked out, and hopefully they will, because we definitely would love to talk to Wilbur. But in the meantime, Britt, you want me to just kind of jump on one of mine and kind of see where it goes until
Yeah, that.
Wilbur shows up?
Oh, here
Oh,
we
we
go.
might have him. We might
I think
have
we
him.
got him.
Yeah, I think I heard the little ding. Oh yeah, we got him. Perfect.
All right, bet.
All right, we
So
should be
I'm gonna
should be
bring him
good to
up.
go.
Yeah, go ahead and bring him up.
There you go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are happy that our guest was able to figure out some of the technical stuff, and he's
There you
here
go.
with us now. Uh, we're thrilled to have former Eagles running back, also Detroit Lions, second all time on the Eagles rushing list. Also was an NFL coach for the Rams, the Lions, the Browns, the great Wilbur Montgomery. Welcome to the show, Wilbur. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Jason. I mean, all those accolades you gave me, that take that grade out of there.
Nah, well deserved, sir.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, and
Indeed.
all three of us are connected to South Jersey in one way or another. Me growing up in South Jersey, watched a ton of Philadelphia Eagles football as a kid. I remember being out in my backyard, running around, pretending to be you sometimes. And I also just remember the NFC East being fiercely competitive. It was such a great division in football. What was it like playing in the NFC East back in the late 70s and the 80s? And was any one of those teams more of a rivalry than the other, or were you guys all just kind of rivals?
Yeah, I think we all was kind of robbers, but you know the what made it devastating to each team to play one another is the love hate relationships, because it's such a bond between all the teams. Especially I'm saying all the teams. Let me just say this: Washington and New York, there was a tight bond, and sometimes it was St. Louis Cardinals before they, changed everything.
Right.
But everybody hated the Cowboys, so that that love still is still there today. Nobody loved the Cowboys, so and I used to always wonder, how did the Cowboys get so many fans in the Delaware Valley?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That brand is far reaching, that's for sure. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Britt.
So, I'm as you can see, I'm the Eagles fan here. Family's
Uh,
from Philadelphia. Family is from born and raised in Philadelphia. I moved to South Jersey as a very young person, so my parents are like, Wilbert Montgomery. Oh my gosh! So, but I have a more specific question for you. Your performance in the 1980 NFC Championship is known to be legendary in here in Philadelphia. I don't care about the world, as we only care about what's going on here in Philadelphia. What was it like? And I had to ask you this. What was it like to beat our arch nemesis, those Dallas Cowboys?
I'll tell you this here, and you could, and it's funny because that game we played and we beat the Cowboys. I had received a concussion the week before, and I did not practice the entire week prior to playing the Cowboys. So that first play that I went into the game and ran and broke that run, I had no knowledge of that play.
Wow.
Actually,
Wow.
I went to the left side of the offense when the play was supposed to be on the right side. So, I wasn't supposed to be in the game. So when that run happened, it's just the hole just opened like Moses had picked up, splitting the Red Sea, and I just like turned back. I turned back right, and I just burst through there. And I said, once I got out there, I wasn't going to let nobody catch me.
Hmm.
But it was a great feeling. I had a concussion prior to that week before we played the Minnesota Vikings, and it was just one of those things that I was knocked out, and I wasn't supposed to play in that game.
Wow. And I know Philadelphia loves you forever. As long as you
Yeah.
beat them Cowboys, we don't
Yeah.
care about any other team. You beat them Cowboys, you are forever great in our books.
Well,
But speaking of the Philadelphia fans, I have to ask you about the fan base. Because they're very passionate.
yes,
And
they
it was
are.
said that I've seen different interviews with Jaws and those your former players, and they say you were a very, very quiet guy. They say you were very quiet. So how was it playing in front of such a passionate, I'm gonna be honest, I'm part of this fan base, rowdy fan base in Philadelphia?
You know what? That the first and foremost, I cannot go without saying I was a country boy. You know, being a country boy, you don't talk too much. You don't say too much. You just a yes sir, no sir guy, and
Mhm.
and that's the way I was. And I thought the less I say, the more attention I would get. But then wanted to play good, and when I played good, I was seen to draw more attention to me. So I didn't want to lose my job, so I just kept playing and tried to talk as less as I could. But and I forgot what your question was, but I was just one of those guys. The fan base in
Mhm.
Philly, there's no others like it. And I'm just saying, I got totally like 38 years in the National Football League, coaching and playing and stuff.
Mhm.
And I've been to all the stadiums, and I've been, you can say all of them. There's nothing like Philadelphia. Philadelphia got the best fans, even the most knowledgeable fans. All of them are very knowledgeable, but no one like Philadelphia. They're gonna let you know when crap is going bad.
Mhm.
Other places they're allowed to do it, but
Yeah.
not there in Philadelphia. Yeah, and I say this here, you got behind you, young lady, you represent Philly all the way to the max.
Absolutely.
And see, if any one of those teams play bad, they're going to hear about it. They're not going to wait and read about it. They're
Mhm.
going to hear it right then and there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because look, I'm also an alum. I was not a player. I was a Philadelphia Eagles intern. So I guess I do say I'm a Eagles alum
Okay.
with you, right there with you. But no. So you played under the great coach Dick Vermeil, who was known for his demanding coaching, or his demanding style. Like, he was very demanding. How did his coaching influence your career?
Well, I just say this. I don't know the influence coming from Coach influenced me. I would say Coach was a great motivator,
Hmm.
and being a great motivator because he can do it with just crying. If he saw two cockroaches going across the floor and the one lost, and you step on and smash the other one, he's gonna cry because you killed the other one. So so
Right.
so so it's the thing. He loved his players. He had a passion
Hmm.
for his team. He had a passion for his players, and that's just not there in Philly. When he went on to coach in St. Louis with the
Yeah.
Rams, and then he went to Kansas City, that love goes on, and he tried to do everything for his players today as they
Hmm.
still playing for him. He, you know, he's a different coach, and the greatest reward that he could have received was getting it inducted into the Hall of Fame a year ago.
Yeah.
That was the height of, I would say that was the highlight of his whole coaching career. But he was a passion guy, and he loves everybody. And if he met you today, and I'm just saying it, he met you today, 10 years from now, he have to see you or bump into you, he's going to call your name.
Wow.
He will
Wow.
remember you.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's that kind of
Wow.
guy.
That's a great quality. That's a great quality. You mentioned a little bit ago that you've been around football for 38 years. Um, Obviously, you played with some great players, played against a bunch of great players. I know you said take the great out, but you were a great player in your own right. And then, of course, as a coach, you've coached some great players. Is there a common thread? Is there something different that separates good from great? I mean, is it talent? Is it work ethic? Is it intelligence? In all your time in and around football, have you been able to identify something that separates the good player from the great player?
You know what? All those things you just mentioned, that's that's embodiment of a great player. And those things that you left out because you don't know what you leave out of a great player because that's why he's great. The ones that not willing to do the little extra, and
Hmm.
that's all it is, the little bit extra. It's no more than studying a little bit, learning what kind of defensive front you're playing against. Again, it's always like, who are we playing against? Who is the coach? What they, what they like to do, what they're looking to
Hmm.
take away from you. It's those small things, and those small things makes a tremendous big thing. I say this today, and I tell everybody to run fast. Marshall Falk, hands down, and it was the smartest, brightest running back I ever coached. And I mean, he was like a coach on the field. He hung his head on every word you say, and he corrected and he fixed things when they wasn't right. He was
Hmm.
the smartest, and I'm not gonna put the label on this kid because he's a North Jersey kid, but I am gonna label him because we all know about him. Ray Rice. Ray Rice was probably the most uncoachable guy. That's the way
Wow.
I'm gonna say it, uncoachable
Hmm.
guy.
Wow.
And you would tell him things, and he was always that one kid that would do the opposite of what you tell him to. And that goes back to when he hit his fiance. And I would talk to him about that all the time. But he is the one kid that I would say, and I had some great ones. Steven Jackson, Willis
Hmm.
McGahee,
Yeah.
Ricky Williams,
Hmm.
along with Marshall Falk. I had some great running backs, and it just that he was a good running back. I would say good running back, but off the gridiron, he was a little bit not there.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. Man, you coach some absolute great ones though. Wow,
Absolutely.
that's incredible. Football's changed quite a bit since you wore that Philadelphia Eagles uniform. There's been some rule changes, some things that have been taken out of the game. When you sit back and you watch football now, when you look at NFL football, do you like where the game is? Do you kind of long for some of the stuff of the past, or do you feel like a lot of the changes made has made the game better?
Uh, you know, and before I say it made the game better or worse, I would say being a running back, you got to be one of the stupidest guys to sign up for that game, because you asking when you sign up as a running back, you asking to get your head taken off on every play.
Yes,
That's what I
indeed.
Hmm.
said about running backs.
Yep.
Now, moving on further, I think the game has changed for the better. I'm not going to be one of those guys that said it's the game. It's just getting worse because now they're trying to protect the players. But even with all the money that they got in the game, they still not going by it the right way. To protect the players, they taking out a lot of the physical part in the practice. At practice, practice used to be the worst part of the game. I'm sure you young men played high school football and college football. Going to practice was worse than playing in a ball game
Yeah.
Sure.
because you
Hmm.
are tackling all the time in practice. But the game has changed for the better, and the players of today, if you look at them, they bigger, they faster, they stronger, they got more technology to improve all those things to help them to grow, and their bodies has changed tremendously. And I've seen that, but the safety of the game, I think that they can do more.
Okay. Good stuff. Britt or K Walk, go ahead.
So
Yeah. Go ahead, Brett. Go ahead.
go ahead. I was okay. I was just going to say so because you did mention technology and during when the days that you play versus when you coach, things changed a little bit as far as the use of analytics in football has grown significantly. How do you how do you feel about analytics being used in today's game? Is that something that you like, or they get rid of it?
Yeah, and that was one. When that first came into the National Football League, I had a big problem with the analytics of the game
Mhm,
because, and two, the analytic people that are watching and grading it and changing things, they're not out there on the field.
Right.
right.
They're not out there on the field, and they don't see what's going on. But yet, the people that is doing that, it's like they can tell. They can go out and they can tell a coach or a general manager things about a player which they got no knowledge of that player. They just
Yeah.
looking at tape. I mean,
Right.
literally, they are looking at film. They're not out there on the field. They're not going through any of the interactions, or they're not in any physical part of the game. They're not out there doing the running. They just
Mhm,
watching videotapes, and then they making. And I'm just saying this because until I just had this conversation this past week. I was up in Minnesota for a week, and I'm talking with the analytical people about the game. They don't understand because they can't tell me nothing about what the play call is. They don't
mhm,
know anything about form tackling, those things. It was just to me crazy. Now the good thing about it, they very smart, they very intelligent, and they very savvy. But I think in terms on they need to get more and more engaged with the coaches about those positions that they evaluate so that they can make better judgments and comments on
mhm,
individual players. And I'm just saying it because two people can be the same. Two people can be at the same level. And this is the part I hate about the analytical. And I'm just gonna say it. I'm from the South, you from the North. There's a they already done put a grade on me because I'm coming out of the South
Yeah.
versus
right.
coming out of the North. So it's those grades they just don't add. It just don't add up right when they do
Right.
certain things. They look at, and I would say being in the Midwest versus if you're a DB in the Midwest versus a DB coming out of Texas or the state of Georgia, Alabama, they're gonna have a higher grade because and they looking for foot speed, quickness, explosion. So it goes like winter months up north, you inside,
Right.
you
Mhm,
outside longer
Yeah.
down south, so you're going to get more running time down there. It gets a little crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys.
No,
No,
you're
that's
good.
a
You're
great
good.
You're
answer.
fine.
That's a
That's
great
good.
answer.
Yeah. I heard something.
Well, did you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you about the Hall of Fame was just a few weeks ago, and I know right now you're in the Philadelphia Eagles Hall of Fame and you're in the College Hall of Fame as well, and I'm starting to see some of these players starting to be recognized. The older players. Now, have you heard anything? Can you speak on that? What are the chances? Are you getting that knock on the door, if you will? Are you heard anything about that?
Well, yeah, for me, I don't think I ever get the knock on the door for the National Football League Hall of Fame because until the way they do it now, it's everything is about stats.
Okay.
You know, the
Yeah.
game is the
Hmm.
game has changed on that level. It's about stats.
Yeah.
That's why you got a big bookie deal. And I'm not, I couldn't have said this if I was still playing or coaching. You can't
Right.
talk about you can't talk about betting at all.
Right.
And
Mhm,
and I frown upon it, because until every morning at 7 o'clock we meet. We talk about the players that are hurt. We
Hmm.
talk about the players that are possible, maybe, doubtful,
mhm.
questionable about playing.
Hmm.
And we can have that meeting at 7 o'clock. And by 12 o'clock, Vegas got all that information.
Okay.
Mm,
And they get to set the spreads on everything. So I
Gotcha.
used to I used to question that and stuff. How did they get the information when we just got the information? and we're not expecting a guy to play, and they already know the guy's not going to play. So, and getting back to your Hall of Fame deal, like I said, I don't think I make it to the Hall of Fame because it's all about stats now today, and that is a popularity thing right now, and they can put whoever they want in it, but I
Yeah,
just think in terms of it's a game of football,
yeah,
and I feel when a guy go in and he representative of your team, I think you should go in, just be a part of them and be there. It's a fellowship, brotherhood,
yeah.
and stuff like that. That's good enough for me.
Yeah.
All right, great stuff
This
there. And
is
just one last question from me.
okay.
So kind of a fun question. How often do you get asked, is David Montgomery your son? Do you get to ask that at any? You get asked that?
Yeah, I get asked that a whole lot. And I'm gonna tell you that it's a whole lot of Montgomerys and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and we are spread it all over the country. But no, he's not my son.
Sure.
Uh, he's not my son. He's in the family, but my youngest son is
Okay.
still, he's coming out this year, and he's going to try to hoping that he make it as a defensive back in the
Okay.
National Football
Okay.
League.
Nice.
All right.
I just have a couple more questions because we got to take it back to the Philadelphia Eagles and your days because I don't care about the National Hall of Fame.
Gotcha.
Philadelphia,
Yeah.
you in the Philadelphia Eagles Hall of Fame. That's all that really matters to us over here.
Okay.
Um, but no, I just want to know because you played with. So I have a couple questions. When you first came into the NFL, was there a particular player or coach or whoever just may have took you under your wing to show you how things are, or you know something like that,
You
mentored
know,
you?
yes, and my first coach, and I take my hat off to him, and was Johnny Rowland. Johnny Rowland. He had just left Notre Dame, and he had spent a year with the Eagles when I got drafted by the Eagles. But Johnny had played in the league 8 years, and he was a running back for the St. Louis Cardinals at that time. He was a first round draft pick. He was a two-way player back in his day. But Johnny, he's the one that told me that, hey, the game is bigger than college,
Hmm.
and it's faster than college. He said, but you can be the fastest guy in the world and still be slow at playing this game. He said, so things are going to move fast. He said, you're just going to have to slow yourself down and see everything. He said,
Right.
when you start to see everything across the field, he said, now you'll start to get it. See, because in the game as a running back, which they trying to take out of the game today,
Hmm.
uh, the running back, they won't say it. They won't say it, and I get mad every week because those quarterbacks that are now, which Tom Brady will be another one that's going to be in the booth up there. They won't tell you the quarterback knows he's got to be the second most knowledgeable guy out there on that field. See,
Hmm.
not only that he got all his responsibility he has to do, but he also have to help both of the tackles. He also have to help both of the guards. He have to help the center, and then he still got responsibility to get out of the backfield or run the ball to do what he has to do. But they won't
Right.
they won't ever say that. But that guy is
Hmm.
so important to the quarterback and keeping him upright. And there's a reason why he's the last guy on the field when it's a pass. He's sitting at the deepest depth because so he gets to see, and we call it searchlight. He gets to see from his left to his right, back from his right to his left. He has to scan the field. We hear the
Hmm.
word scan all the time
Yeah.
on the football field, but they're not telling you who is scanning and what he's scanning for. So he has to have both tackles, both guards in the center, and then he still got his own responsibility. He got linebackers and all the secondary guys on his plate.
Wow. And then my next question is, when you came or when you played for the to the Eagles, How was it playing with another Philadelphia Eagles legend, quarterback Jaws? How was it playing for Jaworski?
You know
Playing
what?
with.
Jaws was a fun guy, you know, and I take my hat off to Ron. You know, he have stayed in the area, and he have done great things for, you know, the Delaware Valley, and you know his golf tournaments. I
Yeah.
mean, he makes a lot of charity money, raising money. Ron, Ron has always been a guy that gave from his heart, and
Hmm.
Ron, he's one of those players. If he don't have anything good to say about you, he won't say nothing. He would just say no comment if he had to, no comment, and that's a good trait to have. If you just said
Hmm.
no comment, no matter how you feel about a person, he just chuckled it off or move on. But Jaws was unbelievable, and you know not only that he was unbelievable, but his you know the guy he was throwing to Harold Carmichael was
Yeah.
another
Yes,
great one.
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
those two teammates, they are super, and you know I rate them 1 and 1A. I won't say
Hmm.
which one is the 1A and which one is the one, but I put them both right there together.
If okay, so excluding yourself, you can't include yourself. Who are your top three running backs in Philadelphia history?
Oh, it's no brainer. Yeah, and again, like I said, I'm always go back to the old school guys first because, and they say, you know, they paved the way. I'm gonna go with Steve Van Buren. I have to go there, and you know, as much as he won't claim it, I think he's a brother. I think when you look at the pictures and you stare at him, you just gonna say, "There's no way he's
Hmm.
not a brother." 'Cause plus, he's from down there in Beachy Town, that Louisiana. So you don't know, we don't know what's going on back then in that day. So
Right.
he's a brother, and then I'm gonna go with those other. I'm gonna go with those other two guys. You know, I'm gonna go with you know, Brian Westbrook. He's
Hmm.
unbelievable. He's
No guy.
unbelievable good, but he's not my number two. My number two guy is Shady. Shady, you know, Shady is the closest thing. You know, people like to say Barry Sanders. I say he's the closest thing to Gale Sales. I
Oh wow.
mean,
Wow. Wow.
the way he
Yeah.
runs the ball,
Mhm.
the way he has to, you know, carry the ball with one hand out there hanging out. But he's one of those guys, and I say it like this: you may not remember this, young lady, a phone booth. Have
I
Yeah.
you heard,
see
seen
it on
you
on a,
seen
on
a
a
phone booth?
on on a very early end of my
Okay,
lifetime, but yes,
okay.
before they got rid
Well,
of
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this about Shady. He can make 11 guys miss him in a phone booth.
Good
He,
gracious.
wow.
he's that good. Stop and go, change
Good
direction,
gracious.
and reverse the field on you. He's unbelievable.
Yeah. Wow.
So Steve Van Buren 1, Shady 2, and Westbrook 3.
Three, yes.
Okay. All
That's
right.
that's that's some good
It's a
stuff
good
there.
That's a nice
list.
list.
And
It's a
That's a
good
nice
list.
list.
my last question for you. I don't know if you follow today's football as far as the Philadelphia Eagles. If you do, if you could speak to it, I guess just what are your thoughts on that current roster if you're able to?
Well, I think you know what the quarterback has to always be the leader of offense, not the defense.
Hmm.
He's the leader of offense. I think he's doing too much lip service right now. You know, too much chin music coming out of his mouth. You know, he got his money. Just be quiet,
Hmm.
take coaching, and play the game. Because until if you
Right.
look at it, in spite of Kevin Moore coming in there, you still got to say as much as you know, as much as you hate to say something about the Cowboys.
Hmm.
When he was with Dak Prescott, you know, their passing game was on.
Hmm.
Right.
And see, he's so used to at this point here because he ran RPOs
Yeah.
in college
Yeah.
and stuff like that. You know that's what happened to him the last part of the last 6 games of the season or
Mhm.
7 games of the season. Everyone done caught up with the
Hmm.
RPOs, so
Hmm.
you
Yep.
got to get into the drop back passing, the quick passing, uh, 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 out of the pocket passing, rollouts and nakeds and boots and play action passes. And
Mm-hmm.
then you can throw for 4,000, 4,500 yards. You
Mm-hmm.
know, wait till you throw for that. And then because it is a passing league. So
Mm-hmm.
he need to be quiet, but yes. And just take coaching. Now that's
Right.
him. But bringing Saquon in, they added another weapon by
Yeah.
giving
Right.
Barkley. That should help him out a lot because
Mm-hmm.
now you got to not saying that the guys you had there before, what's his name last year?
Swift, DeAndre
Miles.
Swift,
Yeah,
DeAndre.
Andre Swift.
Yes.
Andre
Yeah.
Swift did a
Mm-hmm.
great job for him, and then Andre Swift did a great job, and then what's his name did a super job for him when he before he got traded to Carolina,
Miles
and
Sanders. Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. So you had a running game, but with AJ and Dante, Devon Smith, and then you pick up what's his name from Redskins, man. You got some
Gotcha.
power there,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
and Dallas Goddard, he's one of the premier tight ends in the game. So you should be able to team shouldn't be able to stop you with those kind of weapons right there.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Hey, Will, I gotta ask you, since you brought up that roster, do you have them ranked? But I'm a 49er fan, and do you have them ranked over the 49ers as far as complete roster from quarterback to tight end?
I would not put him over 49. See, Shanahan and
Mm,
I, we work together. So
okay,
I understand Shanahan offense, very well.
okay,
And
Right.
if the Philadelphia Eagles can take a page out of that, then that's why I went to drop back passes, the play action passes, the run
Hmm.
action, the boots and the naked. That's 49ers.
okay.
See,
Mm-hmm.
and when you got a running game, now Barkley can be just like McCaffrey. So
Yeah,
when
you're right.
you can utilize that and run them right together, you are setting yourself up for a high power game. But no, I think in terms on Shanahan, he's got the secret sauce to what makes a great offense. And you got a lot of copycats out there that trying to do it, but
Mhm.
they don't get it yet.
Right.
They don't follow the script. And I mean the 49ers, if I know Kyle wants to win a Super Bowl so bad because his dad won too, but
Yeah,
it's hey, I mean it's if this not the year, I don't think he would he ever get back there again because
yeah, I agree.
it's hard to keep those kind of arsenal as your weapons, but
Yeah,
he got the best offense and can't and didn't do it last year. It's going to be tough to do it this year because when the players get older, then they're
yeah,
more susceptible to injuries.
Yeah,
right,
Right.
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Right.
Great stuff. Well, hey,
Thank you,
this
Will. Appreciate
this has been a lot of fun. One more
you. Absolutely.
question, then we'll let you get out of here. But like you said, you've been in the game 38 years, a player, a coach. Do you have a memory, like when you look back over your time in football, whether it's a teammate, a game, coaching a player? Is there one memory that kind of sticks out to you as a great memory from all your time in the NFL?
Yeah, I have two, but one I want to just because until yeah, I have two, but when I came into the league, I was at all when I walked up and saw a guy on the team that was 6'8", like Harold Carmichael.
Yeah.
I said, and a guy that can run and catch balls with one
Right.
hand, like he gets
Right.
that. I seen that every day. So
Right.
then it got away. Like I said, that's nothing special now. But
Mm-hmm.
the special thing that I was gonna say is today is that a guy that played in Tennessee, and then he came there and played in Philadelphia by the name of Javon Curse.
Yeah,
Yes.
the freak.
Yeah.
The freak, yeah. See,
Mhm.
you hear so many times the guys on television they talk about what the back shoulder throw.
Hmm.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
I call him the guy that invented the. He's the reason why they call it the back shoulder throw because in Super Bowl 34, he was about to sack Kurt Warner.
Kurt Warner, yeah, yeah.
He was about to sack Kurt Warner in the game, and it was just a hair of a second. He hit Kurt's arm, and the ball was thrown short to Isaac Bruce. And the next thing you know, Isaac hit the brakes, turned, catches the ball, and then he races to the end zone, like a 60 or 70-yard run for a touchdown. Yeah. And I said that started the back shoulder throw, because when we was in Baltimore, and I'm saying we, with John Harbaugh coaching for all those years,
Yep.
we major in the back shoulder throw. That became a thing on the practice field on a daily basis.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yes.
Well, Wilbur, we can't tell you how happy we were to be able to get you on.
Indeed.
I loved going down memory lane with you and all the great wisdom and stories that you shared. Thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully we can talk to you again sometime.
Well, you guys are great hosts, man. Good. I appreciate it. Thank you. Tell Duck thanks for giving me the call.
Will do, sir.
I'm glad you called this morning, so to remind me.
Got you.
Okay. It's all good. But you guys take care, and have a great weekend holiday, man.
All right, you as well, sir. Stay safe.
Thank you.
You as well.
All right,
great Wilbur Montgomery, everyone.
All right, guys.
He was talking about stuff that he wasn't talking about.
Yeah, that was good. He gave us a little peek behind the curtain.
That's what I'm saying. That's what he talking about.
Oh, that was fun. I enjoyed that. Definitely I enjoyed that one. K-Walk, I see what you was trying to do there, but we all know how great Kyle Shanahan is. Stop that nonsense.
Man, I just wanted to hear from a Philly guy. I wanted to hear from a Philly guy. Some Philly fans aren't really realistic, though. I wanted to get it from his perspective.
Yes, most of us are. We give Kyle Shanahan his props. All right, guys. I guess we could go real quick on a quick break, and then Jay, I guess I at least try to do one of my topics. I don't know if we'll have time for it.
Britt, you got some good ones that I think you had that Aunt Edward stuff that you want to talk about, right? I think we gotta do that, right?
Yeah, so that was on yours. So
that was me.
Is
that's right.
I have it.
Yeah, you're right.
I have a MJ one I wanted to get to, because I was curious about that. And then I had a Deion one, but we could save that depending on how it goes. We'll always be talking about Deion, so we could save that for another time. So when we go on the break, we'll do the MJ one, and then Jay, if you want to do your NCAA picks real quick, because I know that's then the Aunt Edwards, and then we could close it out from there.
Probably wrap it up. Okay. All
right. So guys, we're just gonna take a quick break. But make sure stay tuned, because we got more coming. Got more fun topics coming in. I want to thank you to Wilbert Montgomery once again for joining us as a guest. He did fantastic. And of course, I'm a huge Philadelphia Eagles fan, as you guys can see back here on my shirt. Whatever. So that was fun for me as well. But please subscribe, like and share our YouTube channel at The Sideline Speaks. We're also on X, formerly known as Twitter. There it is. At The Sideline Speaks, anywhere you get your podcast. Again, stay tuned. We will be right back. Don't you go nowhere. I'm not playing. No, I'm just kidding. We'll be right back.
Hello, this is Marvin Lewis, and you're watching The Sideline Speaks with Brittany Jones, Jason Collins, and Kevin Walker. They're taking a break, and they will be right back.
Welcome back to The Sideline Speaks with myself, Brittany Jones, alongside Jason Collins and Kevin Walker. All right, guys, let's get right into it. I seen this not that long ago, probably a few days ago, and they were saying basically who had the greatest rookie NBA rookie season in the history of the NBA, and they said Michael Jordan had the greatest rookie season ever. So I want to bring up his stats, and I want to ask you guys if you agree or do you think it was another player or not. And then I have a follow up question pertaining to that as well. All right, so these are his current rookie. This was his rookie stats. As you can see, it says Michael Jordan had the greatest rookie season of all time. He had 28.2 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, 5.9 assists, 2.4 steals, shot over 50% from the field, all-star selection, rookie of the year, so forth. So, do you think he had the greatest rookie season of all time? Jay, I'm gonna come to you first on this one.
Yeah, Britt, I don't see how you could pick anyone else for this. I mean, looking at the numbers, number one, I don't think anyone's going to have as complete a set of numbers as that. And don't overlook those 2.4 steals. You know what I mean? Like that tells you that this man was doing it on both ends of the floor. You know, a lot of times Jordan had been criticized for not passing the ball, but to average just under 6 assists in his rookie season, that tells a bit of a different story. And to do it all on a really bad team when everyone was focused on him, and to still shoot over 50% from the floor. I mean, I mean, to me, I didn't even realize, as much as a Jordan fan I am, I didn't realize that his numbers were this good. So I think when you look at all this, and then the flair, the impact, the fanfare that he brought with him, I just don't think there's anyone else that could compare to this season that Mike put together.
K-Walk, now take your MJ bias, because I know, K-Walk, you are a true, and like out of all three of us, K-Walk is a MJ fan to the core. But do you think he had the greatest rookie season of all time?
I mean, I do. I mean, the numbers speak for itself. I mean, I as much as I can defend it, or I can, or I can, or I could praise it. I mean, the numbers are still going to be there regardless of the fact. I think the only other player, maybe their rookie season, maybe David Robinson, because I think he and MJ were the only two players that actually averaged 25 and 5 in their rookie seasons. So you could put him up there. But when you look at it, I mean, Mike, I think David Robinson was like 20, 25. I forget exactly where he was, but he wasn't at 28.2. That's for sure. And Jay mentioned what I was going to go with is the 2.4 steals that he had, because you know his commitment to to the defensive end, not just on the offensive end. So yeah, I think that you have to say it. I mean, it's going to sound biased, but ladies and gentlemen, like I stated, the numbers are there. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. They're there to support how I feel. What holds to be true in my heart and my head, to be honest with you. But nonetheless, yeah, I think MJ is that guy, and then he goes on to win Defensive Player of the Year, and I think he goes on to average over 30 points for his career. So he just got better. So yeah, I think that you have to put it up there, and then the only person that you could probably put in there is David Robinson from a complete stat standpoint. Obviously, I don't know who else averaged. I don't know if anyone averaged 30 points. You could go back to Wilt. Yeah, I think Wilt.
I wonder what Wilt's numbers look like.
Maybe Wilt and Kareem. I don't know if Kareem did it his rookie year, but I know Wilt was up there. I think Wilt. I don't know what his numbers were, but I'm pretty sure they're far beyond that. But other than that, I don't think you compare anyone their rookie season to MJ's.
So K-Walk, it's funny you said it, because I have some of those numbers here.
Okay.
So Wilt Chamberlain, his rookie year, 37.6 points per game.
Okay.
27 rebounds per game, 2.3 assists per game. Jeez. He won MVP, Rookie of the Year, All NBA, and All-Star. He was an All-Star selection. We're just going to take Wilt out of it, because that might be just
that's not fair.
All right. So we're going to go to Kareem. Kareem might be a little bit more fair. And I'm reading this because I want to see if this may potentially change your mind, right? So Kareem was 28.8 points per game, 14.5 rebounds per game, 4.1 assists. He won Rookie of the Year, got an all NBA selection, all defense selection, and of course, he made it to the All-Star game. He
Yeah.
was selected as an All-Star that year.
Hmm.
Does Kareem potentially change your mind? Because mind you, he was a rookie in
Yeah.
69, 70.
Who you going with?
Potentially. No, I'm just saying, could that potentially sway your
Oh,
decision?
it could, because when you look at a guy, I love Kareem's statue. He's a 7 foot center, so he has to rely on people getting him the ball. It's not so he's not a
Right.
ball dominant position. So yeah, you could make a valid argument for Kareem having the best numbers, and then there was no three. I don't know if there was a 3 point line when Kareem got there. There was no 3 point.
Mm-mm.
So the factor that, not that he would have taken any anyway, because he's, like I stated, he was a center. And you said 14 rebounds, and
Yeah.
what was the other number that you gave as far as
4.1 assists.
assists as a big man? Come on, four assists a game. Come on, yeah. I can see that argument. I'm still gonna go with MJ because I'm an MJ guy, but that's a valid argument without question. If someone else were to say
Mm-hmm.
Kareem has better numbers or just as good as numbers, and they would go with, I would not argue with them whatsoever.
So Jay, I'm gonna come back to you for this question.
Okay.
So I have two players. So Oscar Robinson average. Now, guys, I
I didn't get the
kind of
big
had
O.
this ready. Right. Oscar Robinson had 30.5 points per game, 10.1 rebounds per game, 9.7 assists per
Ooh,
game.
as a
Forgot
rookie?
Rookie
about
of
the
Wow.
big O. That was a
as a
rookie.
rookie, as a rookie.
I gotta go with the big
He was
O.
a
I might have
rookie
to
of the
go.
year, all NBA, and he had an all-star selection as well. Now, when you look at those numbers, then you look at now Magic Johnson didn't really have the numbers, but he
No.
had the ring his rookie year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we talk about how important rings are. He was the only one out of all these rookies that carried his team to a championship.
And he
Does
didn't win the
any of
rookie of the year
those
either. And he didn't win Larry Bird won it that year.
right? Let me before we get, because I know I read off of Oscar numbers. Let me read off of
Oscar
uh
performance.
Magic's Magic's numbers. Golly, if I could find them here. Hold on, I got a lot of paper going on here. 18, he had 18 points per game, 7.7 rebounds per game, 7.3 assists per game. NBA championship, finals MVP, selected to an all-star. Does any of those players out of Oscar, whoo, them numbers was crazy, Magic, Kareem, does any of those players sway your decision a little bit away from MJ?
Yeah, kind of makes me feel. I wish I would have had those numbers before I gave my take. So I think for me, Kareem might be the most compelling case.
Mm-hmm.
His numbers are just phenomenal. And I feel like he played in a time, what you say that was like 78, 79, his rookie year, something was that?
No,
What
his
was that?
rookie
Oh
was,
no,
I think,
60,
60,
69, something like that.
69,
Okay,
70.
Lou
so
Alcindor then.
yeah, I mean the hard thing for me is like judging the NBA, like
Mm-hmm.
because you have to factor in like, well, what was the competition like? And Kareem was a
Right,
unicorn, being there was nobody else out on the court like him
Right.
that could really
right.
match him height wise. And then Oscar, yeah, I mean his numbers are crazy. It almost averaged a triple double as a rookie. But again, I say, okay, well, who was he playing with? For me, Jordan is just in that sweet spot of
Mm-hmm.
the NBA was in a good place. I think the competition was good. It was incredibly difficult and physical to play in that era. And
Mm-hmm.
then I just don't look at the numbers. I do want to factor in just the allure of Jordan, the mystique of
Right.
Jordan, the it factor of Jordan. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you go back and like watch some of the old like "Come Fly with Me" like Jordan tape, like people were going crazy about
Right.
this guy when he came into the NBA. So I think for me that's part of it too. But Britt, honestly, it's if I'm just being honest, it would be hard for me not to say Kareem because those
Mm-hmm.
numbers you laid out for Kareem are incredible, and the numbers you laid out for Oscar are better than Jordan's as well. So it'd be hard
Those,
to say it's not one of those two guys.
I don't care what era you are in. Oscar's numbers,
Yeah, they're
30
crazy.
something points per game. Like that, he averaged almost a triple double, 30, 10, and
Yeah,
9.7, almost
yeah,
10. I don't care what era you are as a rookie that
yeah.
wasn't really known in. Do you know how
You're
much
right.
work you can do? We have guys who average triple doubles now but it's not to that. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that
you're
was just
right.
unheard of, and the league was different then. Um, I still think back then they probably had a little bit more physicality than what they do right now. My goodness, it's horrible now. Well, I'm just kidding. But I got to give Oscar, I got to give the big O his credit.
Yeah, yeah,
But I think I might be with you, Jay. That MJ is, it's much more than just the numbers.
yeah.
It's everything else that came with it. And so with that, I might have to agree with you guys this time. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey
All right.
Jay, and speaking of that "Come Fly with Me" video, I used to
Yep.
watch that every time before I
Me
went to
too.
Wood Park. Every time I used to go to the E, every time I used to go to the E, I had to watch it twice when I went to the E because it was just a different competition than the E.
Yeah,
But that's something inside
yeah.
joke, ladies and gentlemen. But the E and Wood Park were two totally different parks, but nonetheless, it was something that I watched to get me going, man. It was really
Yep,
hype.
for
Check it out if
sure.
you haven't,
Me
ladies
too.
and
And
Me
gentlemen.
too.
for me, it was actually a commercial, y'all. It was my favorite commercial as a kid. It was that daggone Gatorade
Gatorade
commercial with
commercial.
Yep,
Sometimes I agree.
MJ.
Mm-hmm.
yep.
No, with MJ and Mia Hamm. Anything he could
Oh,
do, I could do
Oh,
better.
oh, yeah,
oh,
yeah,
I
oh,
could
yeah.
yeah,
do.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Because
Mm-hmm.
look, Mia Hamm at the time was one of my favorite female athletes.
Mm-hmm.
MJ was one of my favorite male athletes at that time, and they was just going at it. I thought that was the best
Yeah,
commercial as a
yeah.
kid.
That was
I
good.
got.
That
I
was
have
good.
another topic before we move on. And this has come up recently. Jay, I'm sorry, we might have to go a little bit over time today, if that's
No,
okay.
you're good. You're
Um,
good.
but this is an old video. It's probably about 6 months old, but it has actually came back and been starting to get talked about a little bit more. And it's been questioning Michael Jordan's defense. So still dealing with Michael
What?
Jordan. So I'm going to play the video, K Walk,
Questioning.
before I ask for your response. Because I already know how you are. Again, so this was Rasheed Wallace, which is a Philly native. Although he's a Chiefs fan, so I don't know how much I'm willing to claim him.
The Tar Heel,
But
ex Tar Heel, so
this
he's
was
right.
this was Rasheed Wallace talking about Michael Jordan's defense. Is Gary come up now? Okay, wait a minute. It's not Gary come up now. It decided it didn't want to come up. Let's try this
Yeah,
again.
because
You know how
right,
this goes. Round two. Here it
horseradish.
comes.
In my opinion, Mike wasn't all that good of a defender.
Mike who?
Jordan,
He said,
Defensive
"Mike."
player of the year.
all that was a lot
10
of
times.
that.
I think it was 10 all defensive teams. That Michael
Man,
Jordan.
all that's you know what all that is, dog.
What is it?
I'm talking about being out there. I seen this motherfucker get his ass bust where he couldn't stop a motherfucker. Yes, Mike fouled too, but no,
Excuse
they're
the
not gonna
language.
call the shit because the refs want to eat his dick all day. Oh no, I'm not gonna call that on Mike. But down the other end, oh, you fouled Mike. Yeah, Mike. Hey, Mike, my guy, go to the line, shoot. I seen Mike get his ass
When?
ate up before. Oh, against J.R. Ryder. Yeah, problem against Clyde Drexler. Shit, don't forget the early Joe Dumars. You know what I'm saying? It was again, it's part of the game.
Right.
Nobody is perfect. We all got, you know what I'm saying, our nemesis with this game. But look at the matchups he had with Dominique Wilkins. Dominique going right back at his ass. He couldn't stop Dominique with shit. Now, I'm not saying Dominique was stopping him.
Right,
I'm not saying that he didn't play defense. I'm just saying that, to me, his defense wasn't as high as most other cats at that time. Or, of course, they put him on a lot of defensive teams because he might be playing weak side defense. But that's not really doing nothing. You playing the passing lane. All that take is a pump fake. You gonna bite, and I can hit your man back.
He don't bite though. He first team.
So they say.
I feel like, there's probably something definitely to his popularity helping there, but I do think
No shit.
he was fucking defending though.
I again,
Like at a high level
as
though.
I said, I'm not saying he didn't play defense, but I don't know if that defense was worthy enough. Maybe they were looking at his offense being defense, getting guys in foul trouble who's guarding him. And some people look at that as playing good defense because now you're out the game while I'm still in here. In my book, Mike ain't the GOAT. And that's just in my book. And I could be a little biased because I'm a big man. I'm 7 feet and I'm going with Kareem.
All right, guys, you heard what he said. Point blank period. Do you agree or disagree with what he said? And the reason why, again, I'm bringing this back up because this has the conversations are starting once again. You know, MJ, it never stops. Conversations repeat itself. So K Walk, I'm gonna save you last because you just yeah. Jay, what's your thoughts on this?
So the last part he said, like in terms of Kareem is his goat. Okay, like if you have Kareem as your goat, oh, that's fine. Like he's definitely in the conversation. He's not my goat, but I could understand if somebody wanted to make that argument.
Hmm.
Everything else that he said, I think it's stupid. I really do. Like I think it's stupid. You can always go back and find video of anyone like not like getting beat on a play. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
that's not an indicator because maybe someone had a good night against you or there was a guy that gave you problems that all of a sudden, oh, now you're not a great defender. I think you got to look at the
Right.
totality of the evidence, right? Night in and night out. This is a guy who, if either guarded the best player on the other team, or if Pippen was it, or the second best player on the team every night. And again, I think the numbers tell the story. Could his popularity had played into some of the voting? Of course, it could have. I do agree
Hmm.
with that. But to say I don't think he was a great defender, I just think that's stupid. And who are all these guys that were better defenders than him?
Mhm.
He said there were a lot of other guys that defended better than he did. Well, who are they? Because I can't think of them. Like who in that era? Joe Dumars was known for his defense, yes, but who are all these guys that were the great defenders of that era that should have been on first team defense over Jordan? So I think it's
Hmm.
stupid. I really do. And he said at the end he might be a little biased. I think that's the take there. He's might be a little biased.
I think for me, I'm with you, Jay. As far as I don't think every single player every single night plays this superb outstanding defense throughout the entire course of the game, especially when you have to put so much effort as a MJ did on the offensive side of the ball. But I think the key here, which made him great, especially on the defensive side of the ball, is not what necessarily what you do in the first quarter or whenever. It's that one or two big time defensive moments that your team needed. And Michael Jordan was not scared of those moments. He not only wasn't scared of those moments, he capitalized on those moments. When that team needed a steal, guess who went and got a steal? When that team needed a stop, guess who D'd up out of everybody else, maybe outside of Scottie Pippen, and got that stop that was needed. Um, I think Michael Jordan, just his overall presence on both sides of the court, especially the defensive side, is what catapults him above a lot of other players. I know you had other great defensive players as well, but it was just something about Michael Jordan's will. And you know what? I'm getting it done. I'm the guy that's getting it done, and nobody else is going to take this moment from me. I'm going to get this moment to help my team. But K Walk, I want to come to you last because I know how you can be. What's your thoughts on what he said?
Nah, I'm not probably gonna say it as eloquently as you guys put it, but nonetheless, I think I'll get my point across. Yeah, I mean, you were talking about Rasheed Wallace. I wanted to immediately give him a technical foul because that's he's known for that. He's known for getting technical fouls, man. I also wanted to. I was looking for a shot at the table and see what kind of beverage he had on
Yeah.
it because he seemed a little. I ain't gonna say under the influence, but he seemed a little under the influence to me. But nonetheless, sometimes drunk words are sober thoughts. So he feels this way. So he really feels this way. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys. My one of my favorite sayings is, you don't have to be great all of the time. You just have to be great when you need to be. And I think that's a lot of the
Right.
times what MJ was. And Brett, you alluded to it, is that he didn't have to do it in the first, second, third quarter. He did it when it mattered, and it was just the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
We all know, we always say MJ in the fourth, game six. We always say that's crunch. That's what he's known for. So yeah, he alluded to it, that he mentioned it, not alluded to it, he mentioned it, that he could be biased because Kareem's his GOAT. I don't know what that had to do with the defensive conversation, but nonetheless, he talked about guys, and he wasn't talking about, some scrubs out there that was, giving MJ the business.
Right.
He was talking about Clyde Drexler. He was talking about Joe Dumars, J.R. Ryder. J.R. Ryder was
Right.
he
He
was he
could
was a bad
score. He
man.
could score
Yeah,
the
he was a
ball.
bad
Yep.
man. He was a bad man. So yeah, he probably saw that on one night and then took it from there. But overall, the numbers speak for himself. You can go back and look. I know highlights are going to be highlights. You can go out there and watch games, including the games that he mentioned
Mhm.
against the players that he mentioned in those particular games, and then see overall what grade would you give him at the end of the day as far as on the defensive end. I guarantee he'll come out with at least a B plus, or B minus, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I mean, I get it. He mentioned it was biased, but MJ is a defensive guy. He's been 10 straight years. 10 straight years on the first team all defense, defensive player of the year. I don't think that his offense had anything to do with his defense. You still had to go out there and do it regardless. He just didn't stand out there and take charges all day long and block guys, block shots from the backside. He did it. He did it 1-on-1. Without any help. So yeah, I mean, I understand where he's coming from. At the same time, I disagree.
And again, I brought this back up because this conversation is coming back around. The video is old,
Yeah,
but the
yeah,
conversation is starting to come back around. So I was curious what you guys thought about this situation. But if we know MJ studied film. He
yeah.
studied guys' tendencies. He understood that this man can't go left. I'm gonna force him left.
Hmm.
This man, when he I remember when he broke down the film to LeBron James. He broke down. Now I figured this out prior to him breaking it down because I love basketball and I play basketball. But when he broke down the film to LeBron James when he was younger, he said, "When LeBron goes right, he's driving to the basketball, but when he goes left, odds are he's going to shoot it." And sometimes he still does it when you really pay attention to him, and that just tells you the level of focus that he had
Yeah.
when he played the game, and he understood every player that he went up against, their offensive tendencies, what they like to do best, and he made sure they couldn't get to they weren't able to get to their strengths.
Hmm.
Instead, he exposed their weaknesses. So that's what made MJ so great and above everybody else. But any final thoughts on this? Because I know we got to move on.
No, I think that's good.
MJ's
All
the
right,
goat.
Jam. What? S-
Yeah.
It's it's not Wimby. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing, y'all. All right, Jay. I'm gonna throw it over to you because I know
All
you got
right.
a couple.
We might only have time to do one, Britt, because I got a fantasy football draft at 9:15. So
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna have to get
What,
out.
Jay?
Yeah.
Jay's in the
Trust.
fantasy football.
Well, look,
What?
I don't really, well, I don't want to say too much because I don't know who's listening, but
Jay, you
it's
want to
like
do the?
it's a family draft.
Oh,
And
okay.
man, we've been doing this thing for like 5-6 years.
Oh,
I
okay.
usually do the draft and then I never change my lineup. I be
Oh,
getting beat every
Lord. You
week.
one of those guys?
Yeah, I'm one of those. Okay,
You're one
well,
of
for this
those
year I said
guys.
I'm gonna try to be better. I'm not gonna let the computer pick my team. I'm gonna show up for the
Oh,
draft.
you're an auto pick too?
I'm gonna show
Oh,
up for the
Lord,
draft. I'm
Jay,
gonna
don't
try
be
to
that
keep up
guy,
with my
Jay.
lineup. So I'm gonna try to stay on it. So which one y'all want to do? We could talk a little college football. We could talk the Ant-Man stuff. Which one y'all want to hit real quick?
I
Yeah, I'm
know our
thinking of it.
thumbnail was college football, but I think the Ant Man.
Okay.
What y'all think? Y'all want to do Ant Man? It's up to
Yeah,
y'all.
yeah, that's
I'm
good.
cool with that.
So we talked about it last week a little bit. Ant-Man coming out saying that MJ was the only skilled player from back then. And I
Yes.
remember one of us mentioned that, Magic, probably he wouldn't say something like that to Magic, like if they were
Right.
in the same room, right?
Hmm.
And Magic did make a response to this. And basically his response was, I don't respond to people who haven't won a championship. And Magic, with 5 titles, really just dismissed everything that Ant-Man had to say. Okay, well, what do you think about Magic's response? And is this Ant-Man comment just looking sillier and sillier as we go on?
Yeah, Jay. I mean, when you look at it, I mean, as far as his response, I want does he not talk to Charles Barkley? Are they not good friends. They don't talk anymore because Charles doesn't have a championship. So yeah, well, where Ant-Man goes, as far as what he said, I mean, a lot of those guys are going to take, issue to it, man. I mean, you have to as a competitor. Britt mentioned ego earlier in this show, so ego plays a part in this. So you got to say, well, yeah, MJ is MJ, but don't dismiss what we were still able to do. I won 5 championships. I won as a rookie, as Britt mentioned. I won as a rookie. I played all 5 positions my rookie year, as far as Magic goes. And I mean, the
And
list
beat
just
my
goes on.
team.
But exactly, yeah, well, I'm sorry, Brad. I didn't realize, I forgot about that. But yeah, I mean, when you look at all of the accolades that Magic alone had, I mean, you could say he has skill set. I mentioned he's 6'9", point guard, facilitator. The things that he was able to do, the no look passes that he brought in, the showtime, all that stuff. I mean, that takes talent and all that good stuff. So yeah, I understand where Magic is coming from. But yeah, he opened up a can of worms, and meaning Ant-Man, and a lot of people are going to start. We're going to start to see a lot of people respond to this as far as players from that era. It's not Magic's not going to be the first, and I guarantee you, he's not going to be the last.
Yeah, he definitely opened up a can of worms for sure. And Kevin Garnett, and I don't know if this was in response to Ant-Man's or if this was just was in response to Ant-Man. So KG had something to say about this too. I haven't seen one player and that has really come out and said, yeah, Ant-Man really hit this nail on the head. Like everyone that I've seen has been like, what is this guy talking about? But Britt, can you play the Kevin Garnett video, and then I want to get your thoughts on what KG had to say about this whole thing.
Bringing it up right now. Nope. Let's try that again. I don't know why it keeps doing this. Technology will do that to you. Okay, here it comes.
Bro, I don't think anybody in this generation could have played like 20 years ago, if I'm being 100. And this is to everybody in our league, Tatum, all y'all. Let me tell y'all something, bro. 20 years ago, bro, you couldn't get to a triple step back.
No.
You hear what I'm saying to you? You couldn't get to a triple step back. And then if you shot that shit, it had to go in. You know why? Because we had efficiency back in the day, my dude, and it was so fucking hard. It was too physical. And guess what? The league had to come off of it for the flow of movement to be able to have scoring go up, which is why we like to sit here and watch kind of the rat race of the high-paced game, right? But, bro, let's not talk about the gamemanship, and let's not talk about the physicality of the game back then. Real shit, because I only think half these kids in the league could have been on an NBA team 20 years ago.
Straight up.
The locker room was too too grown.
You know what I watched too? You know what I watched?
It was too of them. It was too much of a fraternity. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, man.
Just
like
the hand check.
No, bro. It was a different vibration. David Stern did a great job of taking all of the physicality out of the game. You understand? Freedom of movement means freedom of movement. Man, back in the day when you had to get by Paul because Paul was squared up with you and ready to slide, and then he could body you, he could poke, he could use his hands, but I can use my hands.
I can fight through a screen.
Bro, the shit that we saw in the Olympics was similar style play when the guard can ride you damn near over the pick.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to get out of that, and a nigga like Holiday, when he come out and he get over, he there. Right. So if you go to cross him, bro, you don't even, that's what I'm saying, bro. Man, the levels in which you had to be not only strong enough, but skilled enough to get by this nigga in front of you. You understand? And then they ain't never seen a 6'7" Rodman guard you.
You heard what the man had to say, Britt. What are your thoughts on this? KG saying that he doesn't think half these guys could have made it in the NBA back then.
Do I look like I want to go against anything, KG? Did you not see how he took off his glasses and was about his business when he just said that? But that tells you the type of player he was and the type of player they were back in the day. They weren't playing to come game. They weren't coming to play games. I'll put it backwards. they were, like he said, they were extremely physical. So all this, like he said, triple step back, you can easily drive. No, they will knock you on your buttocks real
Yeah.
quick to make sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead and try that again and see what happened. It
Mm-hmm.
was just, it's a different game. And I think I kind of agree with them. They took hand check out of the game. They took a lot of the things that allowed a defensive player to, you know, to to be great. A lot of things that they do to be great, they took a lot of that away, and now they're called fouls or
Yeah.
technicals, or I'm not gonna say as far as
Flagrant
flagrants because
ones.
I think
I was.
right and yeah, maybe flagrant ones.
Mhm.
Back then those are just no calls a lot of times. So
Yeah.
a lot of the things that you see what's his name, Harden do, or a lot of things that you see even a Steph Curry and all those guys do,
Yeah.
they would not be able to do that back
Mhm.
then because it was just way more physical back then. Now, if you touch somebody, on the hand by mistake, just like this, it's a foul. They're shooting two shots at the line. Like the league has gotten so soft, it's really is really to me a shame. But I think he's right. I could tell you a lot of these players to me won't be able to survive back in those days, in my opinion. But I agree with them. And I think that's part of the reason why they struggled a little bit in the Olympics at times,
Mhm.
was because of the physicality.
Yeah.
And that was unheard of for us. We always brought the physicality to the
Yeah.
Olympics to the other players. But now it's just like, how are we struggling with that? What is going on? How is that impact? Why is that impacting our shots from going in? Because most of our players, some of our favorite players in today, completely struggled.
Mhm.
Completely struggled. It may have been one person. It was just because he was too physical. He fouled out that first game. That was Joel Embiid. He was being too physical.
Yeah.
But I don't disagree with anything that KG said. And even if I did, I don't know if I would say it. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, one thing's for sure. These guys are tired of these new players taking
Yeah.
shots at them.
Yeah.
That's one
Mhm.
thing for sure. But K Walk, what are your thoughts on the video?
Yeah, I agree with my man. That's why he's my starting my power forward of my all-time starting team. But yeah, I mean, he just tells it like it is, man. I mean, you look at it. We're not taking away from the skill set as far as them being able to jump and dribble and things of that nature. It's just the physicality aspect, the mental aspect of it. I
Yeah.
mean, look at what you mentioned it, Britt, and he mentioned it as well. KG mentioned as well. The Olympics. Look what MJ and Pip did when they introduced Tony Kukoc to the Olympics, and they were supposed to be his teammate. Their teammates coming in. And they let him know this is how it's going to be. This is how we play. If you can't play, if you can't deal with this, you're not going to be able to deal with it in the league because this is how it's going to be played each and every night. And I can't see, like, look at Jason Tatum. I'm tired of seeing guys hold the ball. The ball is on on top of their hand. Their
Yep.
hand is underneath the
Yeah.
Mhm.
ball. This the step backs and things of that nature. I mean, this is not basketball, man. I mean, anyone with a skill set can do that. I mean, can get away with stuff like that. And then we look at LeBron. Someone swipes past his head, and he's holding his head for like
Yeah.
5 minutes. It's just like turning into FIFA soccer right now, and it's just like you go down, you're holding your leg, you're holding your arm, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. You're not going to get away with that, man. I mean, and back in the day, I mean, it's just ridiculous. So yeah, I agree 100% with the big ticket.
Yeah, man. The
Real
amount of stuff that these guys can get away with
Yeah.
now, I mean, that is not a point that should go
Mhm.
unnoticed. Go ahead, Britt.
I was gonna say, I think the younger players, Anthony Edwards, and all these younger players have to understand that rules were changed to your favor. you
Right.
Yeah.
know, the
Right.
superstars today will not be superstars back then. Like he said, you either may not make a be in the league or you're a bench guy. Point blank.
Yeah.
Period.
Right.
So some are. I'm not going to negate all. Some will
Right.
be,
Right.
but a lot of these so-called superstars, they're not going to be superstars during their era
Yeah.
at all. So it's a different league. The rules are in your favor. I just would like for them to bring back hand checking, and let's see how many
I don't think that's
superstars
going
get
to happen.
eliminated from that. But you know how
Yeah.
many superstars will get eliminated just from that? It, it,
Yeah.
it won't happen, but a lot will. And that's why you seeing this big jump in the offensive numbers. All of a sudden, you got 125 points in a game
I know,
on
right?
both sides. It'll be
Right.
125 at 120. Back
In
then,
third
you'll
quarter,
be
in the
lucky if
third
you
quarter.
get 90. Right. Back then, you'd be lucky if you get 90 points in a game.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
And not only that, just to add on just a little bit to the mentality of it, is back in the day, you wouldn't see these guys collaborate the way they're collaborating with these big threes. You had to actually draft. Your GM actually had to be a GM in order for you to get a big three if you were lucky like that. And now is this day, these guys are just manipulating the system. Hey, you sign a contract here, but do a player option there, and we'll all opt out at the same time, and we'll meet. We'll meet in South Beach. Yeah, we'll meet in South Beach. I'm using that as an example, or we'll meet wherever. So that's another part of it, as KG's kind of alluded to, the mentality aspect of it. It's like these guys are too soft, too friendly to be able to play in that era.
Yeah, for sure. All right, y'all. Good stuff. We got to wrap this thing up so I can get to this fantasy football draft.
Where you pick at, Jay? What number you pick at?
I don't even know because I haven't logged into the app yet, so I'm not even sure where I'm picking at. Hopefully, I got a good pick. But real quick, K-Walk, let the people know where to find you and if there's anything you're looking forward to.
Yeah, Kevin Walker on Facebook, Kevin.Walker on X, Kevin.Walker142. I'm sorry, Kevin.Walker142 on X, Kevin.Walker142 at Instagram. Catch me tomorrow night on Never Had It So Good Sports Radio, 7 p.m. Sports Talk with K-Walk and E. Scott, wherever you get your podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Check us out. We got a great one down for you tomorrow night. Looking forward to football, college football. Looking forward to WNBA, baseball, all that good stuff as well. I may be in the building on Friday night at the Yankees game, so hopefully that works out for us. But
good stuff, K-Walk.
And everyone have a safe and happy Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day.
Sorry.
You guys can find me at Jason Talks Sports on all social media platforms. And y'all know I can't wait for college football kicking off Thursday. So I got my TVs ready to go for the weekend. It's going to be a great weekend. Britt, what you got?
You guys can find me on IG and X at Brittany Monique right there at the bottom of my screen. What I'm looking forward to, college football, of course. I'm just happy football is back, period. Then the week after that is NFL starts up. WNBA. My Phillies has finally got a 4-game win streak going on. I hope they broke out of this crazy slump, especially Bryce Harper. I hope he finally is showing up after that game-winning hit last night. But that's what I'm mostly looking forward to.
All right, good stuff, y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you guys listening. Special thanks to Wilbert Montgomery. It was great having him on. Do us a favor, hit that like button, share, subscribe. We're trying to grow this channel. Anything you can do to help that, we greatly appreciate it. And we'll be back here live next Tuesday at 7 p.m. So for Brittany Jones and Kevin Walker, I'm Jason Collins. We'll see you next week.